Prince Harry's emotional revelation. The harsh truth that unveils his hypocrisy. Prince Harry's world came crashing down as he found himself in tears. The relentless truth compelled him to acknowledge his own hypocrisy. Welcome back to the Scandal Royal Family channel, where I keep you up to date with the latest news on Kate Middleton and her family. Thank you for tuning in, and have a wonderful day. Harry couldn't help but fear that the stories circulated by the press would lead to his downfall. Anger surged through him, realizing how people's perceptions of him were influenced by the media's portrayal. How would the public view their future king when Harry exposed his vulnerability by revealing his attachment to a teddy bear? Meanwhile, why does William have to endure the discomfort of public knowledge about his circumcision, courtesy of Harry's disclosures? Outrage engulfed Harry when strangers delved into his personal life, from mundane details like his lunch preferences to the triviality of a broken thumb. How dare they remain updated on the whereabouts of the future king and his mischievous little brother during their rock-climbing escapades? Why should Harry suffer from headlines proclaiming his sadness about his parents' divorce? Especially after the abundance of negative comments he had made about his own family and stepmother. How dare he engage in such behavior? I believe in the inherent worth of every human being, but Henry Charles Albert David Windsor presents himself as an entitled individual devoid of substance. What a squandering of opportunities! While it is true that Prince Harry may not read books, it's worth mentioning that some of the stories he complains about were also published in books. I recall encountering several of them in Robert Lacey's book, Battle of the Brothers. Undoubtedly, there are likely more stories available in the public domain. One aspect that hasn't received much attention, at least to my knowledge, is Prince Harry's peculiar suspicions regarding his mobile phone. He claims to have missed messages that people insisted they left, and the voice message icon would intermittently blink throughout the day. Now, I can't speak for everyone's memory capabilities, but personally, I struggle to recall voice messages from last month. Yet, Prince Thick as a Brick seems to recall voice message traffic from years ago. Additionally, it's worth noting that phones from years past often encountered glitches. William became aware of his phone hacking incident when a newspaper published specific information from his conversations with Tom Bradby, nearly word for word. William took immediate action at that time, not 15 years later. I firmly believe that the Mirror engaged in phone hacking, or at the very least, utilized information obtained through such means. It's reasonable to assume that most tabloids, at that time, employed investigators for such purposes. However, Harry lacks concrete evidence to prove his claim. I don't take most tabloid stories at face value, particularly those concerning the royal family. It's highly likely that false stories originating from palace informants circulate. Even low-ranking staff members may share rumored scandals. Reporters have their sources who frequent places visited by the royals. Consider the photographs of B. Eugenie, and Piers Morgan. Someone at the pub must have tipped off the press. It's impossible to completely eradicate salacious articles. Just look at the absurd pieces published about William and Catherine. Earlier this week, while passing through Baltimore Airport, I noticed a magazine cover screaming about the fight over George. Apparently, Catherine and King Charles are embroiled in a dispute over their son. Another headline claimed that William and Catherine's impending divorce was imminent, with Catherine dramatically storming out. Catherine had quite a busy week, it seems. Public figures constantly face ridiculous stories about their private lives. If HRH Harry the sensitive dimwit wishes to retreat from the public eye and tend to his chickens and children, the only headlines he would receive would be along the lines of Harry has become a hermit. However, there's no profit to be found in a chicken coop, and Meghan is a magnet for publicity. Thus, it's either a return to Great Britain or gracing the front pages of tabloids. One expert remarked, "Harry is a hypocritical individual. There's no doubt about it." I understand that articles written about him during his adolescence were hurtful and embarrassing. Embarrassing a teenager doesn't require much effort. However, he's so consumed by self-pity and anger that he fails to realize the pain he inflicts on others. Nevertheless, I can't help but wonder why Harry hasn't faced legal action for defamation and invasion of privacy yet. Perhaps for defamation, he would have to prove that the claims made about him are false and that he suffered negative consequences as a result. I am certain Catherine is well aware of these claims, yet they haven't seemed to bother her thus far. Defamation claims would likely be unfounded. Regarding invasion of privacy, suing Harry would only give the press the response they crave and dredge up more negative information about William. The cat is already out of the bag, and feeding the monster that is the overseas abyss serves no purpose. Let's be fair. Almost everyone experiences public embarrassment at least once in their lives. It can be hurtful, unbearable, and traumatic. However, few possess the resources that Harry has to complain about it. People move on with their lives, and if they earn enough, they may seek therapy at some point to cope with their experiences. Nobody remembers the stories written about Harry for more than a couple of minutes. People have their own adult responsibilities and challenges to contend with, and they care little about Harry or even King Charles. The rest of the royal family understands that if the public supports their privileges, some aspects of their lives will be subject to public scrutiny. If they desire to retreat from the spotlight, they must support themselves and become ordinary individuals of no interest. Not everyone can take center stage, revealing their mother's lovers, divulging her affairs, and claiming that although he is not a child from one of those affairs, he possesses the red hair of said lover. Admittedly, the affair began 2 years after his birth, but that is inconsequential. His mother's infidelity has been exposed once again. Your dad cheated on your mom cheated on your dad. They got divorced, just like many parents did in the 80s and 90s. Your parents' divorce happened to play out in the public eye. That undeniably sucks, but there were certain compensations that came with it. Compensations you had that others did not. You didn't exactly draw the short straw in life. We all have to make the best of the hand we're dealt. Now, as you approach 40 with a family of your own, it's time to leave that baggage in the past and focus on avoiding the same mistakes your parents made. If Harry had received genuine therapy instead of California woo-woo, perhaps someone would have imparted such wisdom. Noticeably, not a single person has come to Harry's defense. No relatives, friends, employees, or acquaintances. At this point, they can't even pay people to speak positively about him. It's becoming increasingly apparent that what everyone who knows him has long suspected is true. He is an unpleasant human being. Blessed with privilege from birth, he squanders it on pettiness and greed. Now, we witness the real Harry, the Harry his public relations team lied to us about. The PR Harry doesn't exist and never did. The current Harry is the genuine one, and it seems he always will be. The palace should maintain a considerable distance from him. Soon enough, people will shift their focus to the monarchy itself, holding them responsible for creating and imposing Harry upon the rest of us. Harry is little Lord Farquaad, a royal character throughout history who has been poorly portrayed and mocked. Lastly, I want to express my sincere gratitude for watching the entire video. I hope it provided you with some interesting insights. Please share your thoughts and opinions on this video by leaving a comment. I am Scandal Royal Family, and I'll see you in the next video.